Alright guys, Pokey Do right here, and I've just got myself another of these DURAFIEDs delivered to the door, 3,000 watt. Of course that's where they're all come from. I mean, in fact, I think they got a place in Missouri that's, I think they got a straight link through a tunnel to China getting all their stuff, and place in Michigan that gets all their stuff straight linked from China, and of course California, New York, it's all operated on China. And I'm looking at a Model S 3000 Di sold on eBay, and I went ahead and decided, before I take it out of the box, I'm going to weigh it, because one of the things about inverters that gives you an idea, of course, like a lot of things, man, is, their weight averages. You see some of these blue, cheap, called true sine wave or pure sine wave, which is just an absolute fraud. They're a skipped modified, which is why their MOSFETs fail in them all the time. This one here is 17 pounds 4 ounces is what it weighs. So let's take it off of that. Move this thing out of the way. We're going to take it out of the box and weigh it again. And the guy's not a bad guy that sells these. It's Rock City is the name of the outfit. Rock City Auto, something like that, on eBay. And this one right here was like 90 bucks delivered. So not bad for a 3,000 watt. Now we do know that original DURAFIED that I got, it couldn't handle over 1,200 watts. But that was also completely expected. They always boast these numbers. It's boxed well. It's got real good butt ends, because the box took a little bit of a beating, as you can see over here. It took a hell of a ride. But let me lay this down. We're going to have everything is still boxed up here. If I blinked out to edit, it's not for any other reason. See, I told you, it took a good hit. But it's protected well. So, the people that sell these protect them pretty well. So let me set that right there. And we're going to open it up. And it's actually physically pretty heavy. We're going to look at some of this stuff in it. Now, once again, as I've stated before in other ones, another video about this, they include what they're calling 2-gauge wire, and let's go ahead and go there on that, because it's not 2-gauge wire. This is just in between 4 and 2. It's a metric. Sure, people over in Europe will know exactly what this is, and it's definitely not designed for here you can see for yourself. There's the thickness of a razor blade. If I can hold them together. It's not much thicker than a razor blade, for them lugs. So this is probably very sufficient for 1,500, maybe a 2,000 at this length, and the length is looks like about 22 inches, 23. It's under 2 feet. I don't think it's 2 feet. And might even say 20-something inches in the ad. And it's pretty basic, pretty general. Let me turn the light on here. The inverter is pretty basic. I'm going to take one of these apart. You can see what's inside of them. Just generally basic. I could see that it's got a really nice heat sink though up inside. The casing isn't so much the heat sink, and well, now this is good. As you can see in there, this is not two 1500s put together. A lot of these companies that you see these, I've even caught Ames doing it in other companies, it'll literally be, if it's a 3,000 watt, it'll just be two 1500s. They're boards top and bottom, and it's kind of a joke, really. I mean, if you're wanting to pull 3,000 watts, what if you want to pull it from this one and this one? Well, you can't, if it's one of those, because it's only 1,500 top and bottom. So, but this one here appears to be a little bit different. And It's got two smallish. I mean, they're not very big. They look like 50 millimeter, maybe 40. Let me see here. It's well, it says they're 60, but they sure are small for 60 millimeter. And it's got two 60 millimeter. Now, granted, it does have some really big posts, and it comes with washers on the post, so you get a pretty good crushing contact. And let's see if I can find something relevant here. Here is a butt connector. You can see that butt connector. But this butt connector here is right at a 1/4 inch wide. So if that gives you an idea. It's about a little over 3/16. It's metric also, of course. And that gives you an idea of the lugs. So there's the end of it right there with the power incoming. So I will open one of these up so we can get an idea of what we got. Now, let's go back over here to where you saw that boxed weight, and let's go ahead and set this up. Now, that other one, the 1500 I got from DURAFIED, and it's settled down. It weighed about 5 pounds 2 ounces. What it weighed, 5 pounds 2 ounces. This one weighs almost 3 times as much. So it's 14 pounds 1.2 ounces. And the cables thrown in with it is about, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 pounds of box there with it. So, but that's not too shabby. 14 pounds for a 3,000 watt. And that's the, turn this light back off. That is the model right there. If you can read that, hope you can. And the other one will run a shop vac, and it'll run quite a few items for a DURAFIED. That would kind of surprise me, being that it was obviously not tested. This might be a pretty good $90 gift. Alright, pokey-do-right, I'll get y'all a test on it. We're running a load at some point. Alright, now that I've opened up the DURAFIED 3000 watt inverter, you'll get to see inside of it and its modified structure and how it's designed. And what it is it's basically 3 1000 watt boards. There's 1, 2, 3, and they're passively cycled through each other. And then here's the control circuitry right there, where they can set the actual cycles, or the cycles are right here. There's the cycles, and then this right over here is fine tuning where it should be as far as between 150 and 125 on the voltage. The only thing I don't like about it is that the sensors for the heat to run these fans, we can run this red wire on back here, the sensors for that heat is just a very simple integrated sensor, and I'm not crazy about that. I mean, it's at the very top of it, but it's not on the metal, which would make it activate faster and better, which is a little bit bad. So the fuses, as we're back over here, the fuses here, let me turn this light back on again. The fuses, they're kind of haphazard. They're just, you know, they're all bent over. But what I found out is that this one up here, it's got 430 amperes, you know, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you notice the one that's a little bit darker color, I just had to replace that one. And the reason I had to replace it is because it was shattered. They broke the plastic, I guess, with whatever pliers or needle nose they put them in with. So you could see, let me get a better view here. You can see here, light green, light green, light green, dark green. So there's a reason I had to replace that one. And it's because they broke it putting it in, apparently. So that wouldn't have been a very good start, would it? You know, plug it in, put a load on it, and go, crap, it quit. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe the quality's decent. Maybe, hell, that might have lasted for 3 years. But, you know, there's a reason that there's 120 amps of fuse on that board. So, all of these MOSFETs that are in here look like they're well set up. There's a few of them that are kind of crooked, and I mean, you can look down here. I don't know if you can get better light on it here, but you know, they just cranked the screws down. They didn't check it afterwards. So the legs are bent on it pretty bad down there. But the DURAFIED seems to be a pretty good structure. It is not a pair of, you know, two of them stacked on top of each other. It is, however, a clamshell construction, and makes it easier to service it. So I'd say the DURAFIED's probably about an 8 out of 10 serviceability, probably about a 5 out of 10 quality, and the sine wave coming out of it is definitely hardcore general modified. Me personally, for some of the things I plan on running these with, it's not that important, but you'll see here that the wiring harness coming off the lugs is pretty substantial, and it's all, every bit of these are the 3155s, which is the 8 gauge. So it's got 8 gauge wires coming off of it, doubles, and going to this first board, doubles to the same point. So you know, it's about as qualified as you can get for about a 4.72 gauge. I think that's what it adds up to be. That's all right, you know, because that's only 4 gauge going 1,000 watts each time. It's a little bit, I'd say it's a little bit light. You should have about a 3 gauge going to 1,000 watts each time. However, that said, the runs are short, and it shouldn't be that bad of a deal. And in here, if you go in here to where its remote is at, it's, you know, most of them you don't know what they are. It's a 2-wire, so you know you can just take your toggle switch and remotely locate it. You don't have to buy no expensive remote. And coming off of it, it also has the you can also connect to a 3rd wire, so you can have a lit up toggle switch, and it is 12 volt, going all the way back over to here. So pretty simple, simplistic design for a inverter, and structurally pretty sound. Be careful taking these apart, because the screws going into this extruded aluminum, they don't actually grab good. My suggestion, man, is find one, take a screw out, because you can look over here, the screw ain't even out, and it's already got a big gap. My suggestion is find you a set of machine screws that are about 1/8 of an inch longer and replace them, and you probably won't have any problem. I could see me bumping this too hard and popping a faceplate off. So, alright guys, that's it. That's the inside of that DURAFIED 3000. Hope that helps, gives you an idea. Gauge is decent, quality's okay. Looks like parts are decent quality. And let's just see when I put it under load what that really means.